Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gamestack Podcast, right here on We Just Live Games Network. I kind of stumbled my way through that. You're listening to episode 136, Funemployed. I'm your co-host, Vendertron. Joining this evening is also Shalene. Hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you, Shalene?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, good.
I'm so good.
You look very cozy in your furs and the winter backdrop from, I assume, is Animal Crossing.
Yes, this is Animal Crossing from last year. That's a perfect snowman. If I lean a little, you can see my little character back there. And I am just over here in a Snuggie,
Just living your
my
best
best life.
That's great.
My last day at the old job was Wednesday. So I had 2 days of unemployment and I really enjoyed them. It's been marvelous, and I'm looking forward to starting the new one on Monday. It would have been nice to have a little more break time between, but I'm ready to jump into it and start a new chapter of my life.
So Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any expectations going in?
I think it's going to be much lower stress. I will have fewer responsibilities. In my old position, I was basically responsible for everything in the town, absolutely everything. And in this job, I will be focused on one slice of the operation of the town. And I'm hopeful that if it stays that way and I don't get loaded with tons of other, you know, responsibilities, I might be able to excel at my own little slice and do really well.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful for that. And I have some trepidation because of course I do. This is me. We're talking about here.
This
I'm just
is when you're going
a little ball of anxiety.
When you're going into a new job, you're allowed to be a little bit anxious, right?
It's a place that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
I don't know what the industry is there. I don't know any people. So it's gonna be a lot to learn in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And jumping into all this in the holiday season has been rough, and also trying to move at the same time. And it's been a lot. I'm just not ready for anything, but
it'll be fine. It'll be good. It's
so.
all good things, right? So it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to hear about all of your new coworkers next week.
Yeah, I'll tell you all the stories.
Yeah, and
give you all the tea.
Yeah, I want all the deets. And I want to see what your new workspace looks like.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I don't know what that's going to look like either. Am I going to have an office? Will I have just like a desk in a big room? Am I going to be in a closet somewhere? I have no idea what I'm walking into.
Yeah, I spent a lot of years not negotiating my workspace. And I was really steamrolled because of that. My first real job, I was like basically on a TV tray. A TV tray actually would have been better.
That's terrible.
And then in my other role, I was in an office where people were very against me being in that office for privacy reasons. And you know that whole story. But anyways, so I have taken it upon myself to decide that I'm working remotely until I finish this degree. And if anybody has a problem with that, then give me an office space with a door. And if you can't do that, well, looks like I'm working at home.
It's really nice having an office space with a door, and I have a feeling that I'm not going to have that in my new workplace, but we'll see.
Well, at least that's something you're willing to be reasonable on, willing to tolerate, I guess I could say. Anyways, sounds like things are going well for you. I'm glad. We should do a show, speaking of things that are also going well.
We're just like hanging out instead of doing a podcast.
I mean, we could just do that. Don't forget the show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee Blend, and $2 from every bag goes to the Children's Miracle Network. If you're listening live, welcome to the show. We love that you are here week over week. I know that we said that we weren't actually going to do a show this evening because I was going to be busy at a holiday dinner, but that's been since rescheduled to Sunday. So here I am. I hope you're not too disappointed. But welcome back to the best little corner of the internet. And how can people get involved in the community or hear about the show when we're not live? Shalene?
Really, the best way is to join our Discord server. And you can do that by clicking the link that is right below us on our Twitch page, twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. That link is live whether or not the show is. So you can visit that 24 hours a day and have one quick link to join our Discord server. Alternately, you can shoot us a message on social media and we'll get you that. We'll get you the link.
We have a pretty jam-packed show. We are coming out the butt end of the Game Awards, and so we have to cover that. We're also going to cover some news, some stocks, and then Shalene and I are going to talk about our wonderful week of gameplay. But let's hop right into it with this just in. Take it away, Shalene.
Thank you, vendor. As always, shout out to Joseph Tao. Thank you so much for helping us compile the news every week. And one thing that Joseph wanted to point out was he just wanted to remind us about the Jingle Jam 2022 collection of games. That is a donation of 35 British pounds, and you get 86 games. And it is a fundraiser. It is a charity fundraiser. So all of your money goes to charity. So
maybe what I'll do right now is just post that in the chat for anybody interested if you're listening live.
A grand idea. We'll post this also in our Discord later. And to roll into less nice news, the FTC is now suing Microsoft over the pending Activision Blizzard merger. And vendor, this is something that you had wanted to talk about in particular. Do you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah. So we've got a wonderful article here on GameSpot by Jessica Howard. And she's talking about how the Federal Trade Commission has now officially sued Microsoft in an attempt to stop the company's $69 billion acquisition of the video game publisher Activision Blizzard. The suit was filed on Thursday, December 8th, and it claims that the deal would be made with Microsoft was too strong of a competitor in the video game industry, and that it would really actually squash a lot of the competition. This is something that I think we've talked about previously about Microsoft becoming maybe a bit too big. Mm-hmm. The lawsuit itself comes unsurprising to most individuals, there was a lot of speculation in the months before that the FTC was most likely going to be filing antitrust claims against Microsoft, and then was shortly after reported in the Washington Post that the lawsuit actually represents the most significant effort to rein in consolidation in the tech industry. This news actually comes just after academic and tech critic Lena Khan's appointment to the FTC chair, and really falls in line with her mission, which is, and I quote, ushering in a new era of antitrust enforcement. Microsoft has seen a lot of different acquisitions over the last couple of years, small studios, large studios like Bethesda, etc. But this lawsuit could really put a stop to Microsoft's purchases of larger firms, like Activision Blizzard is a good example of that. And they did announce, though, earlier this year that this purchase would give the company ownership over franchises such as Call of Duty, Diablo, Overwatch, and Candy Crush. And they've repeatedly tried to assure the public that exclusivity is not its aim with this acquisition. And they have guaranteed that Call of Duty would remain on the PlayStation platforms for at least a decade and will also come to Nintendo consoles if the deal goes through. But the FTC is claiming that the acquisition still gives Microsoft an unfair advantage and could, and I quote, dampen innovation in those more nascent gaming markets. How do you feel about this?
I have mixed feelings about it. I I don't know. This definitely does it rings of some antitrust issues as Microsoft continues to grow. But at the same time, a lot of their acquisitions so far have gone fine. I feel like they haven't done a terrible job with the studios that they've acquired so far. And I mean, frankly, Activision needs somebody else in charge of them at this point. They're terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah. I mean, why would you even want to buy them? God. So
Mm-hmm.
they're so jaded. But or tainted, I think is the word.
Mm-hmm.
Um I honestly I don't know how I feel about it. One side of me is like, eat the rich, and the other side of me is like, I want the little guys to win.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually on the same side, but um I don't really care all that much, cuz
You
like
know what?
Activision is not a big
Yeah.
deal. But I mean, I think that
To you. To you,
this
Activision is not a big deal.
this points to a larger problem, and I'm actually kind of glad that they have successfully sued Microsoft, because I think they need to demonstrate that these larger companies can't just buy up the entire market, and there needs to be some diversification. You can't have everything owned by a single company.
Mm-hmm.
That's just dangerous. It's dangerous.
Absolutely.
It's dangerous for economy. It's dangerous for employees. I mean, this is why we have mass layoffs and shuffling of things. And I mean, look at Amazon, for example. It's
Mm-hmm.
getting so large now that they're laying off people in the tens to 20,000s
It's
in like,
terrible.
right? So, um, I don't know. I think that there needs to be some healthy competition. Uh, and I think that it should be okay for larger companies like Activision, who erode public trust within their company, to just sort of fizzle out, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But
Yeah.
I mean, for Microsoft, it's all about IP, right?
Maybe it would be better if Microsoft tried to buy those IP instead of the
Right?
company itself.
Don't buy
If
the
they,
company, just buy the
mm-hmm.
licenses, right?
I don't know. I really do have mixed feelings about it. I don't have a very strong opinion either way. It does seem like it does speak of antitrust, but at the same time, I'm not super worried about it. I'm not sure it would have as huge of an effect on the industry as people seem to think it would. But
Yeah, I
that
mean,
may be short-sightedness on my part.
I don't think that there would be any immediate impact, but I think there would be long-term consequences.
Makes
Um,
sense.
and we've seen this with other business models like Best Buy and Future Shop, right? Be- Best Buy bought out Future Shop but kept Future Shop as Future Shop, and then people were hating on
Mm-hmm.
Best Buy and going to Future Shop because they hated Best Buy, not realizing that it was owned by the same company. Um, and I think that that's what's happening here. Um, and it's like it's different because, like, if you think about things like Disney buys IP. They don't necessarily buy companies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's interesting to see the gaming industry a little bit different, take a different approach, where they're just buying companies and all the IP that comes with it, but then keeping the name
Mm-hmm.
so that they have this faux diversification of companies.
Right. Right.
Like Bethesda is a wolf in sheep's clothing now, in my opinion.
Really?
Yes, I see
What
Bethesda.
makes you think that?
Well, because when I see Bethesda, I don't see Bethesda. I see Microsoft now,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's
As you
not
should.
Bethesda anymore. It's not.
Not in the way that it was.
No. And so that gives me a little bit of hesitation. I don't know. What does Joseph Tao have to say about this?
Joseph Tao had some extensive commentary. I'm not going to go through all of it, but he's very glad that the FTC has successfully sued. He says, "Thank goodness. It's such an obvious antitrust situation. It absorbed one of the 5 major American publishers a few years ago and now wants to buy another when this one owns some of the biggest game franchises in the world. It is like watching the airline buyouts all over again."
Mm-hmm.
And he says that if Microsoft wins this lawsuit, then they're opening the entire company up to antitrust lawsuits, uh, just like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Apple. And yeah, he thinks that Sony is waiting to see how this plays out, and he thinks that Microsoft may try to bully their way to victory on this one. So yeah.
Mm.
They do have a ton of money to throw at lawyers. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested in following this.
I hate when these things become like a corporate boxing match
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, well, they just have more lawyers, so we don't really stand a chance. That's why nobody ever sues the government. Because you're never going to win. You're never going to beat the government.
I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
I do want to take a little sidebar and just greet Cooper King 413 in the chat.
Yeah.
Who posted their first time chat. Cooper King says, "Been listening to the show since the show that shall not be named, and finally got a chance to catch the show live. I just wanted to show support for the channel and show. Thanks for what you do. I deliver parcels for FedEx, and this show definitely helps my day go by." Thank you for listening, Cooper King.
Yeah. I remember doing like methodical things and listening to podcasts, and it really helps get the time by.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I drive a lot, or I did, to go to work. I will have a much shorter commute in the future, but it podcasts help.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate you listening, Cooper King. And messages like this are really one of the major things that motivates us to keep going.
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Days Gone?
Sure.
Let's talk about Days Gone. So Days Gone was a zombie game. Came out about 3 years ago on PlayStation platforms, starring Sam Witwer as a biker in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. And it was a pretty good game, in my opinion. I haven't finished it because I don't finish games anymore. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll have the energy to finish games again.
Oh
now
my
that this
gosh.
giant weight is off my shoulders.
Are we? You're moving into a new realm now.
But I have played enough Days Gone that I can confirm it is a good game, but not an excellent game. And it got middling reviews. This article from Kotaku, I didn't catch the author. Did you catch the author on this one? Levi Winslow. This article by Levi Winslow quotes the game's writer and director, John Garvin, who said to a fan on Twitter that the reason the game got a middling reception was because woke reviewers couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass.
Here we go.
Yes. And it got like 7 out of 10 across the board. Was a pretty average review for this game. And I feel like those reviews are not unfair. It did have some issues, like streaming and frame rate bugs, and they said that some of the reviewers, according to John Garvin, some of the reviewers couldn't be bothered to actually play the game, and of course the woke reviewers. So yes. This is really funny, and okay, so I enjoyed what I played of Days Gone. I would like to go back and play more of it. But the one thing that I really strongly remember about the storyline of this game is the wedding scene in which the wife, it's like a flashback, and there is a wedding, and the biker marries his girlfriend. And she says, and I quote, that he needs to vow to ride her as often as he rides that bike of his.
Oh no.
So, I mean, with classy stuff like that, I don't know how this game didn't get tens across the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel I wanted to bring this story up because I feel like it speaks to a bigger problem in the industry. This game got good review scores, but not outstanding review scores. And that's okay, you guys. That's okay. There are lots of things to love about a game that gets a 7 out of 10. Um Not everything has to be a masterpiece, you guys.
Well,
You
and
can't
and
expect
be-
everything to get a 10 out of 10.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
Like what a reviewer thinks of a game shouldn't influence what
Mm-hmm.
you think of a game. Um,
Well, I mean, it should, but
I
um,
don't think it
in
should.
the
I
way
don't think
that,
it should. Like there's terrible games out there that I love to play
mhm.
because they're I just love them. They got
Well, the thing
horrible
is
reviews.
that you need to find a reviewer who has taste that is similar to yours.
Yeah.
And then, I can mostly trust what this person says because they like the same kind of things that I like.
Yeah.
But I do think that we need to let go of the fact that games should be getting a 10 out of 10 or they suck. Because 7 out of 10 is a good review. It's a good game. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece to be worth your time to play. And Days Gone is not a masterpiece. It's just not. That doesn't mean that it's bad, that it's not worth playing, that it's not worth buying, and it doesn't mean that it didn't deserve a sequel.
Well, I'd like to also point out that we're talking about game development in the sense of games being playable at launch.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Right.
right. So, like, we're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about bad reviews because a game launched and it was basically broken. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about bad
Exactly.
reviews because a game launched and it was just unfavorable.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't endorse video games being released that are half-assed.
Unplayable. Yeah.
Yes. So that's just make that distinction.
And the article was updated to reflect um John Garvin is no longer with Sony Bend, who made Days Gone, and Sony Bend Studio has responded to these comments via a Twitter post. They stated, "Yes, we are aware of the comments made by our previous creative director on Days Gone regarding his personal view on the critical reception of our intellectual property. Bend Studio does not share his sentiment, nor does it reflect the views of our team. Our studio is immensely proud of the work we accomplished on Days Gone and are thankful to every developer who poured their heart and soul into it. We are incredibly humbled by the support of our Days Gone community, and we will continue to share your enthusiasm for our world and our characters as we look toward the future." And I just, I think it's a shame that the fact that this game got middling reviews means that it's just completely devalued by most of the industry.
Yeah. And this is, I'm tasting the same flavor that I experience in academia when it comes to peer review.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have a really great paper and a really great study, but if you have crappy reviewers,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to get published. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily because you did a bad job at the science. It's because you had a reviewer that was more consumed in their own self-interests of what the paper was about than rather the public impact.
Right.
And so I think what we're seeing here is the same sort of thing, Reviewers have a lot of pull and clout when it comes to a game's success. And I think that's part of the reason why indie developers
Mm-hmm.
struggle so much too.
Right.
What's a game that you've played, Shalene, that is sort of the underdog of games, but you just love it?
Let me think. Something that was like not really well received, but I adored it. Um, I'm drawing a blank right now, but I know I've played
For
some.
for me, I'd have to say that it's probably No Man's Sky. No Man's
See,
Sky was one of those games that was just like totally trashed at the start. And I just went in with no expectations and I loved it. I
That
didn't
is
read
an
the reviews.
interesting case because No Man's Sky was like kind of transformed going forward from what it was in the beginning.
Well, I mean, yeah, No Man's Sky was a case of accountability with
Mm,
Sean Murray. Like, most devs we've seen with games that flop, they just sort of step away from it, or
mm-hmm.
they maybe kind of fix it. But No Man's Sky was like, he was like, okay, we're gonna fix this for the next 10 years. So, and you're like, whoa, Sean, it's okay. You've proved your point. You've done a good job, buddy. Just like chill.
It's
And
better
he's like, no,
now.
more games, more stuff, more stuff. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. I think maybe there's some unresolved trauma there.
That's so
Not
funny.
sure.
You know what? I do have an example. Deadlight.
Okay,
Deadlight
okay.
is a 2D platformer set in the apocalypse, and it was by and large a very mediocre game. But I loved that little game. I really did. I loved Deadlight. So I will recommend that to anyone.
Deadlight. Hmm.
Mhm.
What is some of your most underrated underdog games that you've played? Write into the show, info@wejustlovegames.com, or you can post in the Mailstack channel in the Discord. We'd love to hear from you, and we will read them on the show. Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
What else you got
S-
up your kimono?
He's making fun of my Snuggie, you guys. This was actually a going away gift from my coworkers.
Oh,
This,
that's
this lovely
nice.
Snuggie. Yeah. So this next one I put in specifically for you. It is
Really?
a VG247 article by Stephanie Nunnally Jackson. Over 10 million people have earned their pilot wings in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Wow.
10 million players for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And they've also shared some numbers representing some different accomplishments made by the community. Players have taken over 500 million flights and flown over 40 billion miles. This figure represents 10 million trips around the Earth and 200 round trips from the Earth to the Sun. The game released 27 months ago and has seen monthly updates, totaling 27. And most recently, the Flight Sim series celebrated its 40th anniversary with the release of Microsoft Flight Sim 40th Anniversary Edition.
Okay.
This update includes some classic commercial airports, 10 glider airports, 12 new aircraft, 14 heliports, 20 classic missions from the franchise's past, and more. And a city update recreates 5 cities in Germany. They have plans. Microsoft, they're not stopping here. They have exciting plans for 2023 and beyond, which means you can expect updates to continue.
Nice.
So, for all of you Flight Sim fans, I thought that was a pretty neat little recap of some of the stats, and I look forward to what's coming.
I always love those like global stats
Mm-hmm.
that it's like you've spent 6 million hours, blah 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 blah. Um, yeah, I should get back into Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yeah.
I'm too
I
distracted by my shifter and ATS.
I really enjoyed your Flight Sim streams that you used to do.
Yeah, I gotta get back into it. My
Mm-hmm.
PC's getting a bit old for streaming. I think I've got to build a new one if I wanted to stream. But
Is it a bit long in the tooth now? I feel like
yes,
yours is newer than
I'm
mine.
still rocking a 1070 from 2016.
Ooh, okay, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That may be time for a boost then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um. Well, what you could do instead of upgrading your PC is spend the next 10 years playing Call of Duty on Nintendo platforms, if that's something that interests you. This is an article from The Verge by Tom Warren. Microsoft has committed to keep Call of Duty on Steam as well as Nintendo for 10 years, and they are hoping that this will ease concerns from regulators over Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition. They are trying to get Sony to accept a similar 10-year commitment. And if this deal closes, they have reached a 10-year agreement with Nintendo. The deal is similar in length to what Microsoft has offered to Sony, and they have committed to continue to offer versions of Call of Duty on Steam at the same time that they launch on Xbox. This deal is plainly designed to pressure Sony to accept a similar offer. Sony has emerged as the loudest objector to the acquisition, and and Microsoft states that Sony is as excited about this deal as Blockbuster was about the rise of Netflix, which feels like a little bit of salt coming out there. Microsoft's president, Brad Smith, said that. I find that really funny.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I feel like maybe Sony's making a bad choice not to accept this offer. But on the other hand, I'm kind of proud of them for standing up to them. That's if they don't think that's good enough, if that is not, if it's inadequate for them, then they're making the right choice. You know what I mean? I just
Yeah, and linking back to our first or one of our first articles about the Activision acquisition, I would like to see more camaraderie between these larger companies rather than them just buying each other out. Maybe work together to make something cool. But whatever, capitalism.
I mean, there are a lot of instances over this past console generation or so of Sony being the wet blanket in terms of cooperation.
Well, I
It's
mean, look at
always,
them. Look at E3,
yeah.
right? They're like, we're not going anymore,
And
and
it's
everybody's like,
always
what?
it's always Sony that's blocking crossplay. Sony is always the one holdout that will not have crossplay. So
I wonder what the vision behind that is.
I really don't. I really don't get it.
Like,
I don't get it.
is there some sort of legal threat
Mm-hmm.
that they
I
know
don't
that we
know.
don't know?
Maybe. But on the other hand, there is a view that in this instance, Sony is sort of the underdog in this situation, standing up against Microsoft, which is beginning to become more and more of a juggernaut in the industry. So I felt like that was really interesting. But I can't help but wonder how many people are playing Call of Duty on Nintendo platforms.
How many people are playing Call of Duty?
I mean, Call of Duty is still huge. Loads of people still play Call of Duty. Maybe it's not the same audience that necessarily is a cross section with our audience, but Call of Duty is still huge. And Call of Duty, but I just, how many people are playing it on Nintendo? How well can it possibly run on a Switch? I just, I find that fascinating. I'd love to know if you play Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform. Please let me know. I'd love to know how it runs. I would love to know why you have chosen to play Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform. Maybe that's the only platform you've got. In which case, I understand. I've been there. But it's just I find that fascinating. The idea of choosing to play Call of Duty on a Nintendo platform when it's just it doesn't have the processing power that the other platforms do.
Puzzler, bit of a puzzle.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Game Awards. The Game Awards were last night. I was enjoying my unemployment, lounging about, watching the Game Awards, and I actually felt really motivated about today's show. I was taking notes. I had a little notepad. I was taking notes for the show. I was ready. So, do you want to talk about the Game Awards?
Yes, and should we just go through the list? Do you want to just go through the list? And we can talk about them as we go through, or
why don't you go through the list and I will commentate.
Okay. So game of the year went to Elden Ring. How do we
I'm
do we
not
feel
hugely
about this?
surprised about this. I felt like it was definitely a very tight race between Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was the year of Elden Ring. Elden Ring dominated conversations about gaming this year.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, God of War Ragnarok is more of the same, whereas Elden Ring is something different. It's different than any FromSoft title before, different than any other Soulsborne game. And God of War Ragnarok is great so far. I haven't finished it yet. I hope I'm going to actually finish this one. But it does feel very much like the 2018 God of War. 2018 God of War, a masterpiece, but while it won Game of the Year during its year, I understand why Elden Ring would deserve to come out on top.
Best game direction also went to Elden Ring.
That I find interesting. Elden Ring is a very open world situation. I feel like it's one of those games that the joy of Elden Ring is that you create your own situations, you do your own storytelling.
Yeah.
And I kind of I'm not sure that it should have won this award.
I don't know what defines the category of best game direction specifically. And yes, I agree with you. I'm like Elden Ring, really? I could see Elden Ring winning, like, maybe best art.
Yeah, I'm willing to
Best
listen to the
best
arguments,
open
but
worlds.
it wouldn't have been my choice.
Well, God of War Ragnarok took home the bacon for best narrative, unsurprisingly, because we know that God of War Ragnarok is pretty superb when it comes to the game's scripting. How do you feel about this, Shalene?
I think it's great. It fits. The story is where this game shines.
Yep. And then we also had best art was taken by Elden Ring.
I am going to bring in a Rick quote for this one from the group chat. Elden Ring was one of the most original looking games out this year. The art was absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Rick McVick, for providing this quote for the show.
Yeah. And I mean, he's not wrong. The art is quite stunning.
It's a gorgeous game.
Let me see if I can find maybe some actual. Here we go. I mean, this is really quite nice.
It is a gorgeous game.
Yeah. Is there any other game that you feel maybe was discounted in best art this year? Because I feel like there was a lot of games.
There were a lot of games
really,
that had
really quite superb.
You know who I think was a real contender for this category is Stray. I loved the cyberpunk world of Stray. I felt like it was very special.
Okay.
And I think it could have been a contender.
We also had best score and music went to God of War Ragnarok.
I love the soundtrack of God of War Ragnarok. I think it's great. The original 2018 I say original, of course the series is much older than that, but the 2018 God of War, I listen to that score in the car sometimes. I'll just put it on, and
that's how you know.
Yeah.
And the God of War, they also won best audio design as well, which. If they win best score and music, you kind of would expect that their audio.
I'm not sure. Elden Ring had really great audio, and I also think that Stray was robbed having a dedicated meow button and not winning best.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I feel like that game is just all sounds, right? Yeah. I don't know.
What's next?
Next on our list is Best Performance. And the Best Performance was awarded to Christopher Judge on God of War Ragnarok. And
now, this was a tight category. Every nominee delivered an incredible performance in their respective game. But Chris Judge as Kratos is magnificent. And he fits such nuance into such terse and gruff statements as Kratos, but there's still somehow so heavily laden with emotion and deeper meaning. I think this is well deserved.
Yeah, I
He did
agree.
give a rather long acceptance speech. It started to get awkward. They kept increasing the volume on the music behind it,
Oh,
and
is that the one Jess was talking about? She was watching it in the background while we were playing DRG, and she's like,
he
"This
went for
guy's
like
like
eight
basically he's
minutes.
basically getting ushered off stage."
I expected a hook to come out. He did look incredible in his golden suit. I just thought he was styling, and I appreciated he was sitting next to I forget the name. I think it's Suni Stevens who played Atreus. They were sitting next to each other in the audience, and that kid looked just as thrilled and proud as if his actual dad had won an award.
Yeah,
And he, of course, was also nominated for best performance for the same category. So,
yeah. Well, congratulations to him for that award. Also, Games for Impact took home an award during the Game Awards yesterday evening. As not Games for Impact took an award, As Dust Falls took an award for best award
Games for
for Games
Impact.
for Impact. Sorry,
Yes.
that was really hard for me to get through.
No worries. I
um,
hadn't played any of these nominees, so I have no commentary.
yeah, As Dusk Falls is it's kind of it's a different kind of game. The art style is really intriguing.
Oh, yeah,
Here, take a look
that's.
here, but it's got the same sort of Life is Strange feel to it in
I feel
terms of
like this
art.
would be a good one for us to do on if we ever finish Life is
Yeah,
Strange.
yeah,
True Colors.
it's basically, so the game itself is like it's two families across a 30-year difference in a
Mm.
interactive sort of drama, and it starts in 1998 with a robbery gone wrong, and the characters' lives depend on the choices that you make.
Mm-hmm.
The game actually received overwhelmingly positive reviews, 95%, and 91% on all reviews was noted as very positive.
This looks like something I would enjoy.
Yeah, it released on July 19th of this year. Its publisher is Xbox Game Studio and was developed by Interior Night. So,
Mm-hmm.
might be something that you want to check out.
Absolutely.
Next on our list, we also had Best Ongoing Game. And that, of course, can you guess, Shalene, what that might have been?
Final Fantasy 14.
Absolutely, Final Fantasy. It's the mash of video games. It just goes
Yes.
on forever.
I'm always tempted to play this game, but I've never given in. I just people love it so much, and the people that have played it just speak so highly of it.
Mm-hmm.
It has a beautiful community,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I'm happy for them.
Yeah, Final Fantasy did a pretty good job. They took home the award for Best Ongoing Game. They also took home the award for Best Community Support, which
Yes,
was kind of cool.
that's great.
Best Indie, and I'm super proud to say this, was Stray.
Hmm. I'm so glad Stray took home an award. It was well deserved.
Stray is so good. And for those of you who don't remember what Stray is, it is this cute little open world concept game where you play as a ferocious feline, a stray cat of sorts in Japan. Is it Tokyo?
Tokyo,
Set
yeah,
in
and he
Tokyo?
has a little backpack and a little robot friend,
Yes.
and it's very mysterious. It's a really interesting cyberpunk setting.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Stray
And
was so good.
you've played a bit of Stray, haven't you,
I've
Shalene?
played most of Stray. I haven't finished it yet,
Yeah.
but I've played a pretty good chunk of Stray.
Yeah. Best mobile game was taken by Marvel Snap. Do we know anything about this?
No, I feel like it's taken the internet by storm over the last month, but I couldn't even tell you. Is this a card game? Is it a strategy game? Is it a Pokemon Go clone? I have no idea.
Is it like the yeah, it's the Pokemon Go of
Oh, it looks like it's
I
cards,
think it's
collectible
cards.
cards.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably also owned by Zynga. Um, what else have we got on the list here? Innovation and accessibility. God of War Ragnarok took that award home. Um, I'm not sure what is in the category of innovation
Well,
and
it's about
accessibility.
accessibility. So I
So
haven't
multiple
used any accessibility
languages and
features,
things like
different
that.
kinds of
Okay.
things,
Okay.
colorblind support and support for different controller setups. It's
Yeah.
a very broad category as to what entails accessibility. So that's something I don't have much commentary on
Yeah, me
because I'm
neither.
not
Yeah.
using those features.
Yeah. Best VR AR went to Moss: Book 2.
And you loved the original Moss, didn't you?
Um
No, you played a different mouse game.
Moss Book 2. I don't know what this is, Shalene.
You played a different game with the mouse.
Oh, oh crap.
Tail something.
That was
It was a
called
tail pun.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
oh, it's going to bug me now. I've got to look it up because
Mm-hmm.
it's going to
It was something to do
Ghost
with
of
the
a Tale.
tail.
Ghost of a
Ghost of a
Tale.
tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost of a Tale was super cute.
Well,
Yes.
Moss also looks pretty cute.
Moss also looks pretty adorable. Yeah, this was the one about the mouse who's basically, in medieval times fighting his way through.
So
It's very
cute.
very
He's got a
adorable.
sword on his back.
Yeah, he's wandering around. Yeah.
I love
Um
it.
Bayonetta 3 took home Best Action Game award.
Mm-hmm.
Best Action Adventure was won by God of War Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Best RPG, you guessed it, Elden Ring.
Well deserved.
Best Fighting, Multiversus. I don't know what this is. Do we know what this is?
Multiverses is a fighting game that brings different universes together. So like you can play as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo against a Powerpuff Girl,
Okay.
or you know what I mean? It's a lot of different I think you can play as Arya Stark in this game. It's just yeah. Um it's very zany.
And Best Family Award went to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I think you've played this, have you?
I have played this and it's
Yeah.
brilliant. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is so good. And I'm so glad that it took home an award. I didn't expect to see it even mentioned at the Game Awards, but I think it deserved to take something home.
It's great, yeah. And on that same sort of flavor, Best Sim Strategy Game went to Mario Rapid Spark of Hope.
I've never played any of those Mario Rabbids
Which is
games.
interesting. I'm wondering how it fits into the sim category.
Well, it's like a strategy. It's not sim, it's
It's
strategy.
strategy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
It's
I feel
basically
like.
XCOM with Mario.
Can you put sim and strategy in the same category?
I don't think you should.
Yeah.
Plainly, you can, but I don't think you should.
Yeah. Anyways.
Because how do you put an XCOM style game up against something like Flight Sim or a driving sim, or
well,
that they're not comparable?
lawn mowing sim was a new sim that came out this year that might have been considered for that had it not been. Anyways, best sports, and we're gonna kind of fly through these because sports. Sports and racing, Gran Turismo 7. Best multiplayer, Splatoon 3. Content creator of the year goes by a person who has the handle of Ludwig. Best debut indie, Stray. Best adaptation, Arcane League. Most anticipated game of the year, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Best esports game, Valorant. Esports athlete, Jacob Ye Whitaker. Best esports team, Loud for Valorant. And best esports team coach, Matthias BCKA Terrasconi of the Loud team for Valorant. And lastly, the best esports event, 2022 League of Legends World Championship, unsurprisingly.
Okay. And that's it for the awards. But of course, awards is not all that the Game Awards show is about. There are also tons and tons of announcements and world premiere trailers and so much news that happens at this show. It's sort of like a mini E3 in December. And I wanted to go through some of the things that stood out to me. These are just the things that I was interested in. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. You'll notice don't come for me when I haven't talked about like the big robot game and stuff. People are super stoked about that. I don't care about it. This is just what I'm interested in.
I'm gonna have to watch some of this.
Yes, there is a new Valiant Hearts coming out, like a Valiant Hearts
Oh,
sequel. It looks like it's coming
nice.
directly to mobile, and it
Okay.
had the Netflix logo in front of it. So I knew you'd be
Oh,
excited about that
I'm gonna
too.
play that. I'm gonna play that.
Yes, I loved Valiant Hearts.
I wonder if it's
Reach
set on like World War II. Because
No, they showed the dog from the first game.
they
So,
did.
and they mentioned specifically 1917. So we are still in
Oh,
World War One.
that's
Yeah,
exciting. That's
it's going to be
exciting.
a new story that I think is kind of parallel to our
Valiant
original Valiant Hearts.
Valiant Hearts was very good. If you're listening to the
Mm-hmm.
show and you're looking for a new 2D side scroller, check out Valiant Hearts.
Yeah, really great adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Returnal, the PlayStation exclusive, is coming to PC next year, and I think it looks really cool. This is one of the reasons that I wanted to get a PS5. Returnal looks great. They're making a Hellboy game. It looks more inspired by the
Wow, really?
comics than the movies.
Oh,
And
I wonder if Tim's
mhm,
going to be all excited about that. I feel like he
I
would be
don't
the
know.
type that would be excited about Hellboy. Maybe
You
not.
know who was the first person that I went to tell about this was my mother, because she's a huge Hellboy fan.
Is she really?
You wouldn't think, would you? But she loves Hellboy. Yeah, so it looks great. It's a very comic art style, very cel shaded. Looks
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of the developer previously, so I'm interested to see how this turns out.
Hmm.
Um, I was also very interested in Post Trauma, which is a survival horror story with puzzles. Your protagonist is a rather portly elderly man.
The people need to know in the show notes. Never mind. Continue.
I called him thick. Um,
Uh
And I am very, very much looking forward to Viewfinder, which is an astonishingly visual puzzle game that combines 2D and 3D elements into this really, really special game about perspective. And I can't wait to see more of this. It's like art that you can walk through, and I think Viewfinder looks brilliant. Um, of course, Al Pacino was a presenter at the Game Awards, and it was really funny because you could kind of tell he was pausing and squinting, and I thought
He's
this
getting
man can't
old.
read the teleprompter,
He's getting old.
and then he says, "Yeah, I can't read the teleprompter."
I mean, Al Pacino was old in 1980.
Yes, yes.
So,
Um, he said that he doesn't play games, but his kids do, and he finds it interesting to watch them. And
that's an
he was the
odd
one who,
choice
yeah,
for a host. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they should have went with like Ricky Gervais.
He was the one who presented the award to Chris Judge, and Chris Judge was super excited to get to go and give Al Pacino a hug.
Well, and
So,
Al Pacino actually
mhm.
started to walk away. I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed.
and he chased him down.
And tapped him on the shoulder. You don't get away that easy. Come here.
But I found it
Anyways.
very endearing that Mr. Pacino could not read the teleprompter, and he was like, "Where am I? What am I even doing here?" Hades 2 was announced, and um, it has a female protagonist this time. And I just I enjoy mythology. I don't really enjoy roguelikes, but I did watch some other people play the original Hades, and I'm looking forward to watching people play Hades too.
Mm, mm.
So I had a bit of a freak out partway through the Game Awards because the Ghost Story Games logo popped up on the screen, and Ghost Story Games, of course, is the studio that was formed by Ken Levine.
Right.
Yes, after his departure from the BioShock team,
Bioshock,
and
yeah.
I kind of thought that Ghost Story Games had just died quietly somewhere and we were never going to hear about it again. But they've been busy and they have made a game called Judas, and it looks like BioShock in space. And it looks marvelous. It used a
Really?
sea shanty as the song. I you definitely go check out this trailer vendor, and I encourage all of you to check out the trailer for Judas. Did you play any of the original Bioshock games? No, they were good, vendor. They were so good. I think you would enjoy
they're
them.
like your favorite,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
they are definitely in my top 10. I
Mm-hmm.
would say
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Um, Bayonetta Origins was announced, and I've had no interest in the prior Bayonetta games, but this one is a big departure. It's very cartoony. It's like a little cartoony adventure game, and it feels very much like a fairy tale story, and it looks like my jam. So I will be playing Bayonetta Origins. Hosier performed. He's one of my favorite musical artists. So I was very excited about that. He looked like he just like rolled out of bed. His hair was all sticking out. I think that's funny. He never looks like he's ready to be wherever he is. Um, the Suicide Squad will feature Kevin Conroy in his last performance as Batman. Of course, Kevin Conroy has been voicing Batman for many years, and he passed away earlier this year. Um, but he had recorded his lines for Suicide Squad before that time. So
Wow, that's
we will get to
cool.
experience one more Batman story featuring Kevin Conroy.
Hmm.
Um, the Last of Us Part 1 is coming to PC next year. And now there are no excuses for all of you to go play The Last of Us. It's a brilliant game. Definitely
Look
play
at
it.
her scolding you for not playing games
Yes,
when she has a whole stack behind her.
I do. I have quite the game stack, and I will continue to scold you because that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Good advice is for other
It's even
people.
more terrifying with this robe ensemble.
I look like somebody's aunt. No, I guess I am somebody's aunt technically. Um, but I enjoyed. There's a lot of folklore in video games this year, and that's something I'm excited about. Forspoken looks really, really cool. I really liked the preview that they showed at the Game Awards, and there is actually a demo available on PlayStation platforms that I would like to go install and check out.
Okay.
Dune Awakening is a survival MMO. I was very disappointed when I found out that it was a survival MMO, but seeing more, it might not suck. I'm gonna stay optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Death Stranding 2 was announced, and of
Very
course,
exciting.
we had kind of heard previously. I believe Norman Reedus casually sort of talked about working on Death Stranding 2. So we knew it was coming, but now we've seen a weird Kojima trailer for it, and there are tentacles in the BB pod. I don't know what's happening. Um,
Well, is the baby the jar baby? Like what?
I think this baby is the jar baby. I mean, that was what I thought. But then it looks like in the process of the spoilers for the trailer, in the process of the trailer, this lady dies, and it looks like she's kind of reborn in the jar. Like,
So it's a prequel?
I don't understand, but no, this lady is in the other game. I forgot her name. And Norman Reedus is old in this game. He's an old
I gotta
man.
play Death Stranding. I gotta play it.
You
After seeing
do.
RTZ's pictures of just hiking the mountains, it's
I
like
think you're
it's the
gonna love
game.
Death
Yeah, yeah.
Stranding.
I've got to play it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very cool. It's a very weird game. Very, very weird game.
yeah. Hmm.
Nightingale looks magnificent. Big thumbs up from me. You are an 18th century person who is just like roaming around through different realms, hunting Lovecraftian creatures, and it's wild. And you have a Mary Poppins umbrella. It's I'm for it. I'm for it. This is great.
Nightingale looks very cool, and I do like what you had said about this is going to be the year of folklore.
Yes,
And I'm kind of ready for that.
me
There's
too.
I just want to note that I seen a flash of a fishing rod.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's fishing in Nightingale, sign me up.
Yeah, I know this is no good for audio
But
folks, but
look
I
at
do
these
want you to keep
outfits.
watching while she takes off on her Mary Poppins umbrella in flight. Look at that.
It's
How good
brilliant,
is that?
right?
I
Yeah.
want to do that right now. Give me
Nightingale
this game.
is I think that this game's going to take some awards at the
Mm-hmm.
next game awards next year. Yeah. It's
Baldur's
possible.
Gate 3 looks better and better the more that I see of it. I have never played a Baldur's Gate game before. I know that it is part of the DNA of the Dragon Age series, and Baldur's Gate 3 reminded me of many of the things that I love about the Dragon Age series. So
And you
I
did play
am I
Dragon
am
Age, yeah?
interested. I have
Yeah.
played Dragon Age extensively. I
Mm.
played it all of them many times. But Baldur's Gate 3 looks like something special.
Yeah, it
So
looks cool.
I
Yeah.
am intrigued.
Mhm.
I thought
Parasites.
Wayfinder looked really cool. Wayfinder reminded me a little bit of the Fable series, so I think that's worth checking out. I'm rolling through this too fast for you to keep up with. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay.
Banishers is probably my favorite of the show. Uh,
No.
yes, this is a game that I am very confident is going to make me cry. Um, this trailer, it looks like an interesting game, but also like a beautiful, beautiful story. You can see Don't Nod, the developers of the Life is Strange series, are part of this one, along with Focus Entertainment. And
Oh, this does
these
look good.
people are a team of ghost banishers. And as you see going on, half of the team of these lovers is a ghost. So
That's interesting. You know, I
yes. Um,
we're
it's
both
I
just
just
fixated
yeah.
on the trailer now.
This is like the fifth time I've watched it and I'm still fascinated. And it's there's so much affection portrayed in such a short time between these two characters. And then the reveal comes that she is no longer amongst the living, and they are still together. They're still a team, and it intrigued me. It looks beautiful and it looks interesting, and I want it. I want to play this
We
game.
should play it together and stream it.
Sure.
I feel like this would be a good soap opera-y kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at this. This
Banishers.
just breaks my heart when her hand starts to fade. Look at
Oh,
this. Look
oh,
at
oh,
this.
oh.
Breaks my heart right there. That reveal. Oh, it gets me. It gets me, Bender. Um, but I love that. And the next one, I want you to take the time to Google this one too. Rockay City. You'll remember last week we talked about a tease that was up for a game that we didn't really know what was coming. This one
Right.
has such a star-studded cast. So going through this one, I was just I was blown away by the cast of this game. It looks very much like a Grand Theft Auto style
It
game.
does. It does.
And I just I oh no, this is not the trailer from the Game Awards.
Oh, this is not it.
Um
Okay, let me
no,
see
this
if I
is
can
not the
pull up
reveal
the.
trailer, but I will just go through and talk about some of the celebrities who are part of this. Of course, Michael Madsen is the crime boss.
Oh, there he
You
is.
can
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's not Michael Madsen. That's the other guy.
Oh,
What's
okay.
his name? He was the brother from The Walking Dead.
Yes,
Daryl's mean
Daryl.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daryl's mean brother. And we've also got this one's Michael Madsen. Um,
So it's just
and
it's sort of
Kim Basinger is in this game. Uh,
Kim Basinger.
yes.
I
And
feel like
we've
this
got
is Danny Trejo.
Danny
Okay,
Trejo.
you can't go
We've
wrong.
got Danny Trejo.
Danny
Danny
Glover?
Glover.
No way.
Danny Glover is in this game. Michael Rooker, that's that guy's name.
Michael
I couldn't think of
Rooker.
it. And just wait, Vanilla Ice, basically playing himself. And just wait, just wait.
Michael. It's
You
gonna be
gotta
like
wait for this
Michael
reveal.
Jackson.
You
Chuck
Chuck
Norris.
freaking Norris. Roundhouse kicks the camera at the end of this trailer. I'm sold, you guys. I'm sold. Bring me Rockay City. I mean, we can just throw GTA 6 directly in the trash.
Yeah.
I want Chuck Norris.
Yeah. That's literally it, Shalene.
Right? I feel like they've stepped up to fill this gap that
Like GTA has
GTA
to GTA now has to have some big names in their
GTA's
next
left a
game.
gap by not releasing any new games in this long.
And also not releasing games with stars in them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Like how cool would Red Dead be if there was like a guest appearance by Clint Eastwood? And for those of you who are not watching the show live, I'm actually making like a Clint Eastwood face.
Yes, yes, he's doing the Clint Eastwood eyeball. I feel like darn, darn, darn.
Oh,
They announced
goodness.
that raids are coming to the Call of Duty franchise, and they actually look pretty fun. I think it
Okay.
looks like a really fun 4-player co-op experience. And if they're like a free-to-play situation, I think we should definitely grab Rick and check one out. Um, they also did a huge trailer for Final Fantasy 16. Looks really, really good. The Final Fantasy games always look really good. But I was really confused by this trailer. How connected are the Final Fantasy games? Is 16 a sequel to the previous game? And if so, how?
I don't
Someone
know.
explain this to me, because 16, it looks like this big medieval situation. It's very like Game of Thrones esque.
Yeah.
But then 15 had a car in it, and like you stopped at a gas station and got your car worked on, and people were wearing baseball caps and normal. Um, and then if you go back another step to Final Fantasy 14, the MMO we were talking about earlier, that game has bunny people in it.
Joshi
How do
Joshi
these games work together?
Joshi says that they don't.
They don't? They're not supposed to?
No, he says not at all.
Is it even the same universe? Is it why would they have the same franchise name? I someone explain this to me. Write into info@wejustlovegames.com, and I want to hear more. Joshi says Final Fantasy games aren't connected to one another unless they're direct sequels, re Final Fantasy X2, 10-2, I
Still
guess,
confused.
etc.
Still
I
confused.
know. Okay. Fascinating.
Final
Fascinating. Each
Fantasy
iteration is its
is
own universe. Then why are they called Final Fantasy? That's so weird to me.
it's the genre.
Interesting.
It's
Interesting.
centered on the genre because they're all fantasy
Um,
based, right?
I guess so, yeah. But none of them are final. None of them are
I was
very
just gonna
final.
say none of them. Why do they keep calling them final when they make a new one? Like when they make the last Final Fantasy, they better call it Final Fantasy because if it isn't, I'm just gonna be disappointed.
Right.
Mm.
And I know I've missed like Armored Core and Diablo and Transformers and a bunch of other stuff that was announced, but this is the stuff that I was interested in. Thank you for letting me gush about it. Let's move on.
Okay, stocks. These numbers are reported to you based on our previously reported numbers on last week's show. Sony closed out today at $80.38, up $2.41. Microsoft down $9.60 since last week, closing out at $245.42. Take-Two up $6.70, closed at 102.6. Activision at 75.16, down just 80 cents since last week. Ubisoft at 26.96, up 63 cents. EA down $7.57 since last week, closing out at 124.71. And 10-cent Games closed at $40.72, up $1.43. And that is our very short-lived stock GameStock segment. Have we got any?
You've got mail.
Have we got any mail, Shalene?
We do. And this was actually posted in the peer support channel, not in our mail stack. I did ask permission to bring this discussion topic
Okay.
up on the
Okay.
show. So A4 Boost says, I'm not sure if this belongs in this channel, but I was thinking about one of the past Gamestack episodes that I was listening to at work. You were talking about live service games and talking about not liking them. Then I realized live service games stress me out. I have a backlog of great games I've never finished, some of which I never started. I feel it's because I always feel like I need to finish a particular season of a particular game, but then I want to play other games. So I've pretty much made up my mind to abandon live service games. I mean, if Fallout 76 or Destiny 2 comes out with expansions with new missions and a story, I'll play through it. But I just feel like grinding every season nonstop is causing stress I don't need. Anyone else feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to discuss this because, yes, A4x4 Boost, we feel this way. Many of us feel this way. I absolutely feel this way. Live service games and timed events and seasons have absolutely introduced an element of stress into the part of my life that is supposed to be relieving my stress.
Well, and I think, Shalene, what we've touched on previously was it's about boundaries. They're not respecting your time. And so it's very, games as a service is very intrusive, because you now feel that you have an obligation to complete out this season of whatever game you're playing, because everybody else that you know is also doing the same thing, and you want to get the cosmetics, and you want to say that
the FOMO,
right? And so there's this whole groupthink around it, and then you had chimed in, I think, about I play games because I want to play them. It doesn't matter if I don't finish the season. I don't care about that. We had a nice conversation around that, but I totally feel the same way. And I think the only game that I really, really want to try to finish the seasons on has been Sea of Thieves.
Right.
And that's not because of FOMO. It's not because of dedication or obligation. It's because the cosmetics are really damn good.
Yes. And they're so good.
And also, it's really easy to get through the season in Sea of Thieves. Like,
it is for you.
In the first 2 hours of gameplay, I had went up like 25 levels, and that's a quarter of the season done in 2 hours.
I've never finished a Sea of Thieves season.
Yeah. And so anyways, I'm not sure how many hours it would actually take and what things you could do to actually finish the season the most efficient way possible, but Sea of Thieves is the one for me. I will argue that Deep Rock Galactic's, the way they have their season balanced is absolutely the worst I've ever seen. It is so grindy, and it takes you forever to move to the next level in a season, and it's super annoying. And I've actually thought about writing to the developers to give them feedback on this, or posting a review on Steam about it or something. I don't know. I feel like posting on Steam it just gets lost in the ether.
Posting on Steam also, if it's a complaint, that also feels a little passive aggressive to me.
Yeah,
but it is important to give that player feedback when you have it.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope that you feel validated.
Lengthen this podcast with a timestamp.
Yeah, no kidding. But you're right, and I think my first realization of how I don't like this games as a service is when Fallout 76 came into the fold, because Fallout up until that point was not service based, really. I mean, there was different DLC introduced in Fallout 4, but I wouldn't really classify that as a service, right?
But they've adopted that model for 76.
Coming to that realization in 76 was a hard hit. Yeah. So, anyways.
I just wanted to cover that.
Yeah. PUBG, I think, was also another season-based thing. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why I like ETS and ATS. They have little events that you can take part in, but there's no season. You don't have to get anything done by a certain amount of time. And there's no accolades that you get. I mean, you might get a little like new air freshener that you can hang in your truck, but like, most of the events in that are for charity. So if you drive a certain amount of miles, they'll donate a certain amount of money to charity.
And that's great.
And those are good things. I would feel motivated to complete a season if it meant that the company was donating money to a charity, right?
I love getting a chance to play a video game and feel like sanctimonious about it.
If you want games as a service to be a successful business model, make it philanthropic, right? Sew in an element of philanthropy in there. That's going to motivate people to keep going back to your game. And at the same time, they get cool cosmetics or whatever it is that you're giving away for the season.
Love it.
We just solved the world's problems. Next. Any other emails?
No, that's it.
All right. Let's move on to what the community is playing. And I actually haven't queued the photos yet, so give me a second here.
I
Uh,
just love this segment. I can't wait to see them. I feel like
yes.
RTZ is the MVP of this segment usually.
Well, not this week
Not
because
this
we only
week?
have four submissions.
Ooh.
Four submissions in the screenshots and stories. And the first one is from me. This is a
Are you
picture.
sitting in a lava?
It's a lava hot tub.
Oh, look at
So
you.
Jess and Hobbit and I discovered that there is a lava hot tub hidden in the lobby of Deep Rock Galactic.
That is so
And
fun.
we're sitting in there, and I don't know if you can see, but she's got her like tattoos,
Oh,
and
so that's
she's
Jess's character.
this is Jess's character. Yeah, yeah.
Jess, your character is
Oh, you
magnificent.
should see it. It's so ridiculous
I
how we
love him.
make them look. Yeah. This next one comes from Jess, actually. She said, picked up Animal Crossing New Horizons again. Been a while. And
Oh,
explain
Rosie the
this.
cat has greeted her. Rosie is working out, right? She's got her little barbell in the forest. And she says, Huh? Kern Jess? No way. It's been 2 years and 7 months since I saw you last. Boy, is this girl gonna have some weeds to clean up on her island?
Yeah, that talk about coercive games as service. You know, right? We don't.
Animal Crossing shames you so hard when you come back after a long time. I'll bet there were roaches in her house. That's a real thing. If you
I
spend
think
a certain amount of time away, you get roaches in your
I
house.
seem to recall her saying something about trying to get someone to move out. Somebody had moved in. I think she had a squatter or something. I don't know. Anyways. And then we have this from Joshy. He says, haven't been playing games recently, but I started using another mapping program to make my maps for my Pathfinder game. And
That is really cool.
what he's included here is a new a building, I think, that he has built. There's like a
Mm-hmm.
stone wall and then an actual building inside the stone wall. And then he also shared this other one with us, which is another map that he had finished, which looks really
Okay,
nice.
lots of waist high cover, so I feel like something bad's gonna happen here.
Yeah. Anyways, that's screenshots and stories. How can people share their screenshots and their stories?
You can just join our Discord, as we said earlier, by clicking the link underneath our Twitch page, twitch.tv/we just love games. And once you are part of our Discord server, you just visit the screenshots and stories channel and post your stuff there, and we will share it on the show. I
Mm-hmm.
love this segment, you guys. Please continue submitting. I really enjoy seeing what you guys are up to.
And I lured everybody into a false sense of security because last week I was like, we got 30 screenshots because we're not going to be doing a show. And then nobody posted screenshots this week. And so now we have 4, but at least we had some. So,
Yeah.
anyways, let's rolling on through. Speaking of roll on, I'm going to talk about my ATS gameplay. So I have somewhat finished the Texas DLC. I know it's only been out for like 2 weeks, you guys, but this shifter is so good. The shifter is so good. When you're humming down the highway at 55 miles an hour and you kick that shifter down into 8th gear, you feel like the king of the road. Let me tell you. So, anyways, it's been quite good. There's just one town, like smack dab in the middle of Texas, that I haven't driven through yet. So I've got to check that out. I also got to look at the different roads that I haven't explored. And then, of course, there's all the Easter eggs, which I haven't explored any of the Easter eggs or the hidden roads in any of the states, which eventually I'll do. But I was really more focused on the 15 halls. They were doing this DLC event for the Texas. It's like a challenge. So you got to do 15 halls to or from any city or town in the state of Texas. So I did
Mm-hmm.
some from Texas going into New Mexico and then, going back into Texas, etc. I'm still waiting on the Christmas event. It's my favorite event in ATS and ETS. Every year, you deliver presents, and the presents are set up on a trailer. I think I showed that on
You
last week's
did.
episode. And I just looked at the wiki. Last year's Christmas event didn't actually start until December 17th.
Ooh.
And I'm flying to California on the 17th, so I'm not going to have a chance to
Oh.
participate. It does it does end on January 17th. So there's going to be like 3 days where I'm going to get to do a few Christmas hauls. But
So you should be back in time.
yes, but I'll be preparing for my candidacy exam and probably super stressed. So I'm probably going to entirely miss the Christmas event, which is
Boo.
disheartening. But I did also sail with Jess, which was super fun. I think that was on the weekend. We did the second Tall Tale of the Tall Tales, the original Tall Tales in the game.
Right.
And in the middle of our Tall Tale, we had the best experience. So we're at Plunder Outpost, right? And we dropped off the whatever key or relic or whatever it was that we had to bring back to Madame Olivia. It was Briggsy's something. Briggsy's skull. That's what it was. And so we do that and we sell whatever we had. And then we push off and we're heading out to sea. And we're just having a great time, you know, playing our instruments. Down below, someone's cooking fish. The dogs are dancing. Everything's great, right? We're on to the next chapter of this tall tale, and bam, we run into a brig in the middle of the ocean. Like, literally, just ran right into them. And immediately, I thought, oh my god, they rammed us. They're gonna want to sink us. Jess, there's somebody on our boat. Blah 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 blah. And they hop off their brig onto our boat. And they shoot me, and I'm dead. And I went on the microphone, and I'm like, guys, we're friendly. Like, we're just doing a tall tale. We literally have nothing on our boat. You know, it's not a big deal. Well, anyways, because both of them hopped off of their brig, actually all three of them did, their brig sank, and all of their loot was floating in the water just off of Plunder Outpost. So the guys on our sloop rezzed me, and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry. Like, we didn't mean to do that. It was literally like they weren't watching where we were going, and we weren't watching where we were going, and we just sort of ran into each other in the middle of the ocean. Like, it was just that's what happened." And it was just by sheer dumb luck that these were actually nice guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Oh, well, like, our friend is over at this island, and can you help us get our stuff back?" And I was like, this sounds super shady. Like, they're commandeering our ship, and I'm letting them do this because I feel bad. But anyways, so we went over to where all their loot in the water was, and we started harpooning everything, and then some of it started sinking. So I dove in, and I'm like touching all the pieces to make sure that it doesn't sink. And we recovered all of their stuff, and then we sailed them over to Reaper's hideout, so that they could sell all of their stuff. But their friend brought their brig to Reaper's hideout, and we raised the Alliance flag, and we got some accolades from all of the loot that they sold. So it was actually like such a cool experience on the seas to to literally accidentally have a collision out in the ocean. What are the odds of that? With another ship. And they turn out to be nice people, and we helped them recover their stuff, and just like save the day. And then we parted ways. We parted ways at Reaper's hideout, and that was it. Like,
that is so much fun.
It was such a cool experience. And I of course I kept saying sorry. I was so like apologetic, and yeah, it was fun. It was a fun time. Anyways, that's my gameplay. What about you, Shalene?
I have been playing, of course, there was a major follow update this week. Nuka World on Tour has arrived in Appalachia in Fallout 76. And I was super excited about it. So I've been playing some of this with Archon, and I've also checked it out without him a little bit. So gotten some solo time in there too. They've added new foods and new recipes, new plans, new cosmetic camp items, new outfits, so many new things. So there's this whole list of new stuff to collect. And you know what a sucker I am for stuff to collect. So that's been really exciting. Oh, and also one of the rarest outfits in the game is the Responder Firefighter outfit. And Archon got one of these, and he gave it to me, and I feel so fancy now. I feel like I have really expensive couture outfit, you know, when I go out now. So
you're gonna wear it to all the events.
It's a very, very rare outfit, and I feel so fancy when I wear it. But back to the Nuka World.
That's dedication.
Right.
He's literally giving
It's
you the clothes off his back. Not literally, well, figuratively. Well, arguably literally, I don't know.
literally, he was wearing it at the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some girls get flowers. I get a responder firefighter outfit.
Brownie points
It
in
was
my
great.
book.
Yeah, it was great. Um, yeah, I felt very special. But back to the Nuka World on tour. The new events are so much fun, Vendor. They're so fun. I really enjoyed them.
Tell me all the things.
Spin the wheel is this event where you spin a wheel. You have to go in and you push the button and it spins the wheel. And if it lands on blue, then you have some combat to do. And if it lands on red, then you have dangerous combat. It's like death claws instead of, normal enemies.
Yeah.
And if it lands on yellow, it's a twist. So one time they were throwing explosive rad stags at us. And another time we had to find hidden Cappy statues. And um,
Wild.
it's just this very zany time. And you're trying to protect these large bottle and Cappy statues from being damaged. And then you get prizes, and it's really fun. It's got this very circus atmosphere, the whole location. There is a Tunnel of Love event, and in the Tunnel of Love, there's this little robot. It's a Mr. Handy robot, and I don't know if there are other variants of this, but in the one that I played, we helped him build himself a wife. So we just like cobbled together a Mr. Handy shaped uh lady, out of spare parts that we found, and there was a little wedding, and it was so cute. It was so cute. And it was precious. I can't even tell you how cute this was. And it was really, really fun. There's a Wild West event. I forget what it's called, but it's set in like a little Wild West town, and you have to rob the townsfolk and steal all their gold and load it
Nice.
up in the wagon.
Nice.
And then there's a big sheriff that comes to fight you, and deputies and little liberator bots, but they're varmints and they have little varmint faces painted on them, and they're so cute. And it was so much fun. And just the atmosphere of Nuka World feels like a carnival, even outside of the events. There's a little tarot reading Robo Brain that has a little stall, and you can pay her 50 caps and she pulls a tarot card and reads your fortune.
And did you?
Of course I did. I got reverse death. So
That's a bad
we're
sign. That's a bad sign. Yeah.
not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's little Miss Nanny painted up like a clown who gives you a balloon. And there is a Protectron who's like a strong man, and he's painted with a little mustache and like a little stripy unitard, like a strong man in a circus. And it's all so
Brilliant.
cute.
Brilliant.
I just they did a great job with creating Nuka World. Oh, and I didn't talk about the giant mole rat. There is a new world boss, and I think you may have quit playing before they added the Wendigo Colossus Earl.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up the thing and have it play in the background while you're talking.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
So you can launch 3 nukes on a server before the server's done with nukes, right? And you can trigger the Scorch Beast Queen fight by firing a nuke, or you can trigger the Wendigo Colossus fight by firing a nuke. And now there is a third option. There is the Mole Rat Juggernaut, I think he's called. But he's this massive, massive mole rat. And he pops out of the ground, and he's ridiculous, just comically huge. And you shoot at the giant mole rat, and he's like, ha. There are little mole rats and mole miners that attack you, and then he sinks back down and pops up in another spot. And it was just so much fun. I enjoyed these events so much. And it breathed some new life into Fallout 76 for me very
Oh,
much,
that's
this update.
great.
I've enjoyed it. I've been delighted with the new stuff in this update.
I
So,
feel. Oh, there's the mole rat. Yeah. Oh wow, he's so beefy. I
isn't he
like
a
it.
big
I
fellow?
like it.
Yes, and the song is back. What if there was a place with all the zip of Nuka-Cola?
Yeah, yeah. Very good. Very good. Oh, sounds like a good time.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. And
Excellent.
that's all I've really been playing lately.
Nice. Well, that's a show, ladies and gentlemen. Any plugs or announcements, Shalene?
I recently appeared on the Leadist podcast along with Jessica Starr. So definitely check that out. It was a Fallout themed episode, trivia and lots of video game trivia, and it was really, really fun. They were very cool guys, and I encourage you to check out the Leadist podcast.
And I am now officially not going to be doing an episode of Gamestack for the rest of the month of December and part of January because I'm going to California for Christmas. And so when is our next show, Shalene?
I have no idea.
Okay, we'll figure that out. It'll probably be the end of January. I'm
I
guessing.
may do something in the meantime. I don't know. I'm moving. I'm starting a new job. I have no idea when
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to pull the next show
So
together.
do hang tight with us. We will most likely have a live show at on a Friday, sometime in the end of January. Maybe it probably won't be on the 20th because my candidacy exam for my
Let me actually
PhD,
look
my
at
PhD
the
is on the
calendar
20th,
here.
and I'm not
I
gonna wanna.
I definitely won't be here next week.
Well, anyways, if you're listening live, happy holidays to all of you. And if you're listening after the fact, today is December 9th. And so if we do catch you before the holiday season, happy holidays. Thank you for listening to Gamestack. We love you guys. You guys are the best. Yeah. Anything you want to say?
That's it. Love you. Bye.
Well, wait, we still have an outro to do. The
Oh,
show
do
is
the outro.
sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee Blend. $2 from every bag goes to the Children's Miracle Network. You can email us at info@wejustlovegames.com or post in the Mailstack channel in the Discord. And you can join the Discord by going to twitch.tv/wejustlovegames, scrolling right down below where we have our video, and you can access the Discord link. We record the show live on Twitch almost every Friday, except for the foreseeable month or so. Twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. We're also on Twitter at WeJustLoveGames, Shalene at Shalene L, myself at Vandertron N. We're also on Facebook, Facebook.com/WeJustLoveGames, Facebook.com/group/WeJustLoveGames. And we're on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Please like, subscribe, and review the show if you can. Thank you all for listening. Shalene, what is your last word?
Chuck Norris.
Good night, all.